Tank Jones, what's going on there?
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson, that's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein, that's him. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. We'll talk about Monarch Money in just a little bit. I want to thank you every day for being here every day. Thank you, newbies, for being here today. And thanks to everybody for making this first listen every single day. You guys are the best. And yes, I do have my brand new Locked On Bama t-shirt.
Yeah.
I like it. We can get some of these things like this. Hopefully they'll be available to other people at some point. But we hadn't gotten that far. So hopefully that'll happen. But
I ordered a Bryce Young t-shirt that came in this week that I'm very excited about, but I like the direction you went there. I went with the Bryce Young. I don't like
Carolina
jerseys.
Panther?
Yeah, but I don't like jerseys. I just don't. And it's okay that people listening that do. But what I do like is the t-shirts that have so it's just a Carolina Panthers blue shirt with the Panthers logo on the front, and on the back it says Young 9. So it's his name and his number. I like those t-shirts, but I've never been a jersey guy.
No, but we already off topic, but I had a friend of mine who went to an Auburn national championship game, 15 years ago, whenever it was. He wore an Auburn jersey, eye black, sweatbands, and there was something else he had on.
Did you think they were going to call him out of the stands?
Like my brother said, you're not playing right. And it's inside in a dome. You don't need the eye black either. So, anyway.
Did he wear cleats?
Yeah,
and a mouthpiece?
That
would be cool.
Gloves, clapping.
Hey, if you're going to do it, that's the way to do it, right? If you wear the jersey and the eye black, then you've got to put on the gloves, the cleats,
gotta go the whole way.
And a mouthpiece.
The whole way.
Yeah.
I think he did have a mouthpiece.
Yeah, you got to go full. If you're doing it part way, that stinks. Do it full out. Everything but the helmet, and wear the helmet if you got one.
It's like Halloween now. That if you wear a sort of a half-butt Halloween costume, you look stupid. But if you're going to go as Captain Jack Sparrow, you got to wear the culottes and everything else. I mean, you got to wear the whole
makeup. Oh, yeah, makeup, everything, all of it.
All right. So we're going to talk a little Tank Jones to begin. We're going to get into the roster ranking, which is now into like the dudes of dudes.
That's because we're 3 days, we tape this, we're 3 days away from practice starting. And then the roster ranking is meant to, hey, number one, we talk about the day before practice starts, because once practice starts, instead of daily roster ranking, we'll have daily practice report.
So there was a report from an Oregon site about how, and Steve Wiltfong may have loosely been involved in this, but it sounds to me they are creating drama. The Oregon site was essentially saying, hey, it feels to us like it's becoming more of an A&M Oregon battle and Alabama's fading. With very little inside knowledge, I can tell you I don't think that's right. Now,
I don't think it's right either.
And he made somebody else. I went to a place yesterday with a bunch of friends, and somebody else came up to me and they recognized me, and they said, what's Tank Jones going to do? And I said, well, I'm going to tell you, like we say on the show, we both think he's going to Bama, but he might not. I mean, it's not like we're saying, don't be mad, don't quit watching because he doesn't go there. I mean,
we're not submitting an RPM for Tank Jones just yet either.
Not crystal balled or nothing. So, but I said he could go somewhere else. I said, and if you think about it, I mean, we're going up against what I would consider to be two of the three top NIL passing outers, and there are, in Oregon and Texas A&M. So
these are rich programs when it comes to the new way of doing things, and they're in the top 5 in the recruiting rankings for a reason. Top 5, top 8, wherever they're at.
But they are both a long way away. I don't know how easy it is to get to Eugene. I've never been there. I have been to College Station. It is difficult. It's just not easy.
It takes a Sherpa. You got to hire a Sherpa.
You got to have like Magellan's cousin in the car with you to get there. Magellan's cousin Frank. Magellan got the cool name. He got Frank. So yeah, I mean, I feel like in the end, still This is going to be Bama. Some Oregon mod saying this. By the way, this same Oregon moderator had a prediction for Richard Young committing to Oregon, and then like 2 hours later, Richard Young commits to Alabama. And I'm sure that Andrew Bone and T. Watts and all these guys have had the same thing happen. It doesn't mean he's a terrible moderator. It means sometimes they miss too. That's why when you look and you say, oh my God, he's 93% on his crystal balls.
Your source isn't always the same guy. Your source isn't always the same guy or the same thing. You were depending on a very dependable source, and it ended up being wrong. That just happens. So I don't hold that against Justin Hopkins. I think he does a pretty good job out at Oregon. He is an optimistic type. So am I. So I'm not going to throw stones at him. Look, I think logically what's happening here, I think there's some logic here. Why does A&M feel good about this? Why does A&M feel good? Why does Oregon feel good about this? And why does Alabama feel good about this? There is a logical reason. They're all still in it. Tank and his people are talking to all three because they haven't made a decision. I mean, he doesn't even have an announcement date. Why does everybody think that he's already decided? He's talking to A&M, he's talking to Oregon, he's talking to Alabama. That's why all three feel like, hey, he could end up here. And I can't imagine that Oregon feels good about this. Alabama may think, because we're talking to Tank every day. Well, he's talking to them every day too, and of course these kids all have agents. Got to remember that. Especially the high profile, 5-star types. So my feeling is we're here probably 2 or 3 weeks from an announcement. Tank hasn't said when he's announcing, but we're guessing 2 or 3 weeks away from that. I don't think the kid's made up his mind. And I think that the decision here, and I don't want to make it this simple because I don't think it's this true, but it's that you grew up an Alabama fan. Alabama's the in-state school, but Oregon and A&M have given him a lot to think about. And I know most people are going to say, yeah, money. Yeah, but, those are good programs. And Mike Elko is a defensive coach. So there's your draw. Dan
those
Lanning.
Are good things to think about, by the way. Money is good things to think about.
Money, yeah. Who would fault anybody for that? But Elko and A&M is an ascending program. Elko, like I said, the head coach is a defensive guy. At Oregon, Dan Lanning, head coach is a defensive guy. Who's recruiting him at Oregon? Tosh Lupoy. Now, as we all know, at Alabama fans, Tosh was probably Nick Saban's best recruiter, in my opinion, in the entire Nick Saban era. Tosh was the best. That's who's recruiting Tank Jones to Oregon. And what position does Tosh coach? Those outside pass rushers. So Tosh is their best recruiter and one of the best recruiters in the country, and he coaches Tank Jones' position. So I think Oregon and A&M are going to be very tough to beat, and they're giving them a lot to think about. In the end, though, like me and Luke have said from the start, I think Tank is going to choose Alabama. That's a prediction that I have, but it's not necessarily based on some sort of scoop, although I know people who know that situation. But again, I think this has all the earmarkings of a kid who has not made up his mind yet, because Oregon and A&M are tough to beat, and they're giving him a lot to think about. And, you think, I know everybody goes, well, there's always the portal. Particularly the mature ones like Tank and his people, they want to get it right the first time. They don't want to transfer. They want to get it right the first time. And this is a big decision. You're talking about, this isn't about rah-rah school spirit. With these kids, this is about their professional careers. They want a long professional career and to be trained by the best to play in the National Football League. And that's what's at stake here. It's not just about what's my favorite team. The Braves are my favorite Major League Baseball team, but if the Dodgers want to pay me a bunch of money to play for the Dodgers, a lot more money than the Braves are, then I'm going to be a Dodger. I mean, that's how it works. It's a business decision. So that said, Alabama's also going to be paying Tank Jones quite a bit of money. And I don't think Alabama's offer, particularly in the rev share era, is going to be that different from A&M and Oregon. And I think in the end, it's going to be Alabama.
I do like how you put it about the maturity aspect of this. I mean, somebody who could be getting married but having cold feet may go, I just don't know if I want to do this. And a friend could go, hey, look, if it doesn't work out, pretty simple to get a divorce these days, and then you can move on and try another one. And that's great. But what they leave out is this a pain in the butt to get divorced? Just ask me. It ain't fun. I had the easiest divorce in the history of easy divorces, and it was awful. And like, so I just can't imagine, like some of these people I've talked to that have had hard divorces, it's awful. Transferring schools, also awful. I've never heard of I've heard of people saying, I had to get out of there. But what they don't tell you is, and I had to get out of there. And so I had to call my dad and my stepdad to come and help move me out. And when they moved out, I mean, they got in a fight, and that was drama. And then we got a flat tire on the way to the new school. And then when we got there, they got my room wrong and my key didn't fit the door and blah, blah, blah. They don't tell you all that crap, because that crap happens too.
Well, I was a divorce lawyer for a long time, and I can tell you from personal experience that hard divorces were my favorite. I sometimes got a new car. I'm kidding.
God,
I'm sort of kidding. I'm sort of kidding.
Jimmy's driving a new car because of me. Like usual. All right, let me tell you guys about Monarch Money, because if you're getting a divorce, you're going to want to have your money situation straightened out. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. Who said that? It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. Look, I just love how it taught me that you're spending too much money by going out to eat all the time. It seems rudimentary. It seems like I should know that very easily. I didn't until the Monarch Money taught me, hey, you could actually have a lot more money if you would just quit doing this. And it's helped me out. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year at Monarch Money. Okay, here we are. Time to get back into this roster countdown. And we are on number 6, I believe.
6. Yeah, we're on 6 as we record this. We're actually 3 days from the start of practice. So, but we had the special Bobby Humphrey show, and then Friday and Saturdays are sort of off days for our recording. And but anyway, so number 6, Domani Jackson. When I think of Domani, who I have as the 6th best player on this football team, and if anything, I think I might be underrating him. I haven't seen Domani mocked in first round. I might, and I think it's because he's sort of new to being this good. But I love Domani as a bet to make it into the first round next April. Why? The measurables are there. You must, to be a first round pick, almost always you must have first round measurables. He does. He will run a 4.3. You're talking about one of the fastest high school athletes in California history. He's going to do a 4.4 or better. And he's not small. As a matter of fact, big corner in terms of his height, his length, his size. He's a big corner, and he's still going to run that first round time, right? Okay, so measurables, no problem. The question beyond measurables is, okay, well, can you play? Are you good? I would ask anyone that's listening to this show, it's a big Alabama fan. I know not everybody's got last season on a rewind, but can y'all just think of plays where Domani gave up long touchdowns or gave up touchdowns at all? I mean, in terms of giving up receptions, yards, and touchdowns, there was very little. No one was picking on Domani, even though he was a new starter in the SEC, and he had struggled in the early part of his career at USC. So when I think of Domani, this is a really good player with first-round measurables. And like so many corners, sometimes they don't really impress you with their stat line. And why is that? Because no one's challenging them. There is no challenge. There's just a bunch of incompletions or, hey, I meant to throw it to the guy Domani was covering, but Domani had him too covered, so I'm not throwing it there. And it's not like corners break off from their guy and go tackle running backs, 40 yards away. Cornerback is just not a stat-producing position unless they're throwing at you a lot. And Domani's not going to see that. So if he's going to make all-star teams, I don't care. I've got Domani as one of the best players in this team and going in the first round next April.
I'm with you. I think he's a good what you call it's a value bet to go in the first round. He is super fast. And again, if you're the one of or not the fastest player in the state of California, that's not like being the best swimmer in the Sahara. I mean, it's like you've got a lot of people you're competing against.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fastest guy in California is like, that's not the fastest guy in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Why do we always
Would
pick
you
on New
love
Hampshire?
to be the fastest guy in New Hampshire? Like you're all cocky and you go to some big meet and you run into the fastest guy in California and he laps you. Yeah. And you're like, I'll just stay in the Northeast. Thanks.
Like, wow, the fastest guy in New Hampshire, some fat guy's got like a beer belly and he's the fastest guy in the whole state.
Fastest guy in New Hampshire. Luke and Jimmy are 1 and 2 in terms of speed from New Hampshire.
A pregnant woman is the fastest guy in New Hampshire.
So, but I'm with you. I think he's got a good shot to go in the first round. I mean, he has a lot of great attributes. And again, the thumbnail picture that I use for, I think that's what we call those, for the front of the YouTube thing that we're doing on here. Like it's him making that interception against, was it South Carolina?
Oh, yeah, down on the goal line that cinched the game, kind of picked off their Hail Mary at the end. And I actually criticized him for running out of the end zone. I made a mistake. I remember having to apologize. Because when me and you do the reaction show live, and I just walked out of the stadium, and I'm like, why did Domani run that ball out of the end zone? It wasn't until I saw the tape and I realized why. Malachi was telling him to, because Malachi was rightly concerned that Domani caught the ball on the 1, and if he downed it, an official might have incorrectly ruled it a safety. You know, and I think it was smart that he bought it out for that reason. It shouldn't have been a safety. But heck, yeah. I don't really trust refs, and I want to do a whole show later this week about officiating.
How much you hate referees?
Yeah, so I want to start complaining now. It sounds so hollow during the season. Let's start talking about it now.
Yeah.
When it doesn't sound quite as hollow after a game that Alabama loses, and we're like, oh, the officiating is terrible, and people are saying, listen to these homers. Well, you know, sometimes the officials do rule that Ryan Williams was covered up when he was not taking a score off the board. I saw that again the other day and got so, Matt Austin, the rules guy, he used this word, perplexed. Yeah, he's watching them line up and he's like, he's not covered up. I'm perplexed as to how they made that call.
What do they mean covered up? I mean, do they mean like he was hidden behind another player?
It's a strange word. It's a strange term to use. And the best I can explain it is if you have more, if you're lined up on the line of scrimmage, you know, you have 5 offensive linemen lined up on the line of scrimmage. The rules say you have to have 7 lined up on the line of scrimmage. And that's why sometimes the tight end is, sometimes 2 receivers. If you have more than 7 all lined up on the line of scrimmage, the inside receiver becomes ineligible. If you have more than 7, the inside receiver, and they call it covered up. You know, well, he's covered up. I don't know why they use that term, because it doesn't have anything to do with the defense. It has to do with who's on the line of scrimmage and who's off. The official rule must have ruled that Ryan was lined up on the line of scrimmage. And was a line of scrimmage. That would have made, in that formation, if Ryan had been lined up on the line of scrimmage, he would have been an illegal receiver, and an illegal touching would have been a call had he touched the ball, because he was an illegal receiver. Had he been lined up on the line, he was not. He was not.
Tell me this. Why couldn't that be reviewable? That's so easy to review. Let it play out.
That's a great question. That's a great question, because something like that should be reviewable, because that's easy to tell on the replay. On the replay, you can clearly see, because line of scrimmage stuff, they do marking the ball is reviewable. I mean, this is it. You're right. It should be reviewable. I wonder if it will become reviewable because of the fallout from that call.
This is later for our complaining about referee show later. But that's what I've never understood. I hate it when people say to me, yeah, I don't really like replay, but I think it's so important to get the call right. Calls are missed constantly. Every play.
Even with replay.
Live with it. And so
even with replay.
It's constant. And sometimes you can't tell what's really right and what's really wrong. We pay an official to make these calls. and I say we loosely. I mean, we don't pay him, but they pay an official to make or miss or correctly call these calls, right? So just let them do it. And the whole thing about you must get it right. No, you don't. It takes away from the whole spirit of the game. When you have a review that lasts 5 minutes and you got refs going over there, I don't know, it's not exactly what I saw, but it's kind of what I saw. And
it probably wasn't going to change the outcome of the game. But you know what's? I just heard this the other day. Oklahoma held Alabama to their lowest point total since 2004. No, they didn't, because Ryan Williams scored that touchdown. Yeah. That was just taken off the board for no reason at all. And I'm not saying 24-10 is any better than 24-3, but Alabama did score a touchdown in that game. It was the very beginning of the fourth quarter.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you we couldn't have come back.
And I just watched the second half just in the past few days. And this is true. When they took that touchdown off the board, Alabama, and this is not to Alabama's credit at all, it's a little bit of a shot at the coaching staff. Alabama was deflated after that. They had no juice after that. There was no juice. Every time they got the ball offensively after that, there was just not a lot of juice left in that team after the referees took that touchdown off the board. So I'm not saying Alabama would have come back and won. I'm not saying that at all. That's crazy speculation. But if it's 24-10, you're only down 2 scores. There's 13 minutes left in the game. Now you're excited. Now there's some juice. This could be the comeback, but we'll never know.
Saying you're not saying it always makes me think of The Simpsons when Marge called Homer. He was like stranded on an island, like trying to be a missionary for some reason, I think.
Of course.
And he was always like licking these toads, these toads. And Marge goes, and he started talking crazy. And Marge goes, "Are you licking toads again?" He said, "I'm not licking toads."
Not licking.
That's just got me. I don't know why that's funny. I'm not licking toads. All right, game time. We've all been there, logging in early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot. What? For a show you've been dying to see, like Coldplay? Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where Gametime comes in. Gametime makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop. As it gets closer to showtime, you can save up to 60%. 60%. Killer last-minute deals with Gametime. Tired of the endless scrolling trying to find the best deal? Gametime zone deals. Pick the best seats in the section for you. Take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app today. Create an account and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply because they apply to everything. But again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price. That's a Jimmy Stein Gametime guarantee. Okay, so number 5 on the roster countdown, Jimmy, is
Deontay Lawson, 5th best player on the team. I think there's some legit questions about his health. I mean, he had the he wasn't able to participate this spring with the knee in terms of being a full participant. He says he's running now. He reported at media days that he's 90%. In my experience, athletes tend to exaggerate that. He might be a little less than 90%, but there's still a fall camp to go. I think until he gets in a contact situation, you don't have total confidence in it until you're in that contact situation. That will come for him, I'm guessing, in the first fall scrimmage, which is about 2 weeks after camp starts. So we'll really know about Deontay's health then, because when he's healthy, there's just no question at all. He's easily among the 5 best football players on this team if he's healthy.
I'm with you, but that's exactly why, like on this particular one, I would disagree and say he should be just outside the top 10. That's my thought. Because of the knee. I mean, we just don't know. And it's a big deal. It's so big he didn't go pro because of this.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, that's how big it is. He took, no matter what you think, like, okay, well, he's making money at Alabama now. That's great. But I think this was the 100% deciding factor. I mean, sure, would he have been rolling it over?
So, he said so on the Tide That Binds documentary starring Luke Robinson and Jimmy Stein. The Tide That Binds.
That's right.
Deontay said, I was going to head to the NFL, and then I got hurt, and I had to rethink it.
Yeah. So because it was that devastating and that life-altering, I feel like it docks him at least 5 spots.
No, that's understandable.
Yeah.
That's understandable. He's been hurt before. You know, this is a kid that's been injured just about every season he's been at Alabama, some injury or another. It's not the consistent same thing. It's something a little different every time. I'm hoping that bad luck has run out, or we might be here 1 year later going, boy, that kid just got hurt all the time. And some kids just have bad luck with it for whatever reason. But Deontae is one heck of a player when he plays. One of the things I like about him so much is I knew him as a prospect really well because he's local. He played for Ronnie Cottrell at Mobile Christian. I spotted Deontae in the 9th grade as, this is an SEC player, and he was playing defensive back. He was primarily a safety then. By the time he was a senior at Mobile Christian, he was playing pass rusher. He was playing inside linebacker. He was playing running back on offense. They moved him all over the place. He's such a football player. That's the best thing about Deontae. Football player, great instincts. He just knows what to do. He's a natural leader. He's going to be a 2-time captain. That hasn't happened at Alabama often. It's happened before, but it doesn't happen often that you get your name in the sidewalk twice. And boy, ultimately, hugely respected by everyone in the locker room. He has attacked his rehab, as he always does. He's got to gain some weight. I think when you participate in the rehab process, when you're rehabbing injury, it's easy to lose some muscle weight because you can't do the full workouts that all of your peers are doing because there's some things you still have to protect. So he's lost a little weight. He's got to gain that back. I think it's easier to gain the weight back when you've had it before. And, I think last year he was listed on the roster at about 239. So he's got to get back up to that 239. But one thing that's going to help him, Luke, in terms of snaps, there's 3 inside linebackers that are all going to be considered co-starters. Deontay Lawson, Justin Jefferson, and Nikiah Hill-Green. They're all going to be kind of co-starters. I think they'll have so much confidence in Justin Jefferson and Nikiah Hill-Green. Maybe early in the season, you can manage his snaps a little bit, until he's full speed. Maybe that'll help him out, that he doesn't have to play every down out there because like Justin Jefferson and Nikiah Hill-Green.
Maybe another reason to knock him down. The ranking. I mean, knock him down. The ranking, not literally. But where you say, okay, he doesn't even have to be as important. Yes, he's super important, but he doesn't have to be the important thing. Like we got other guys that can help with the importance.
Yeah, and I like bringing this up. Who else has this? Not only, Nikiah Hill-Green is an all-conference linebacker. He's all Big 12 at Colorado, and Deontay's been all SEC before. So you've got two all-conference guys, right? But who else has this? 3 inside linebackers. Nikiah Hill-Green's a 6th-year player. Deontay Lawson is a 5th-year player. Justin Jefferson, if you count his JUCO years, he's a 5th-year player. A 6th year, a 5th year, and a 5th year at a position where experience is huge. It's like quarterback of the defense, an inside linebacker when you're in the front 7 of a defense and you're in there making the calls. It's like having a 5th-year senior quarterback. I think that's an incredible asset to Alabama is the maturity. But those guys are all seniors, and next spring here on Locked On Bama, we'll probably be talking about that inside linebacker position.
How scared we are
every day because it's going to be new. You probably go to the transfer portal, but if not, I've even got a transfer portal name. We'll bring it up later in the year for
we're going to be frightened.
Linebacker. Yeah, I think you almost have to bring in a portal guy there in December just because you can't. They like QB Reese and Caden Jones and Luke Metz and Duke Williams. They like these guys, but are they ready to be starters in the SEC? That's going to be a good question next offseason.
All right, that's going to do it for today's podcast. We'll be back tomorrow, maybe with a special guest that you guys won't want to miss. As we learned by the number of views this person gets when we just talk about him. So, all right, that's going to do it for today's podcast. We'll be back tomorrow more. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.